This thing tells me it's going. Welcome to the Dr. Stacy Show, where we're talking about all things faith, love, and wellness as it relates to parenting. I'm your host, Dr. Stacy, and today I'm super excited to have with us Tiyon Simpson. He is a British-born entrepreneur, brand strategist, and father of two based in Eastern Europe. As the founder of TL Simpson Enterprises, Tiyon has spent over a decade helping ambitious people from individuals to high net worth clients build skills, mindsets, and presence needed to succeed on their own terms. Having built businesses across branding, marketing, and media from the ground up, Tiyon is passionate about one idea, that success isn't something you chase, it's something you become capable of. A philosophy he doesn't just teach, but lives with his family every day. Well, Tiyon, I am so excited. We have already had a great pre-show conversation, so I'm excited to just dive in. Thank you so much for being here today.
You are very welcome. Thank you, Dr. Stacy. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so tell our audience a little bit about your why. How did you get started down that road of entrepreneurship?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Why? Why do I do what I do? I think a short answer to that question is I have a unique and burning passion to help people succeed. I have always worked in the service industry. So in any capacity since I was 15 years old, I've always had a job of service of some kind, whether it's been customer service or anywhere where I'm actually serving people in some capacity. And that's gone from working in a shop, working in a warehouse, through to working for wealthy financial planners, private banks in the City of London. So pretty much everything in between. So my passion is to serve people. So how that turned into business came from an idea that I wanted to create frameworks or create services to help people succeed, particularly people that are ambitious or have some level of ambition. And the main tagline or the main focus of what I do is I help ambitious people become excellent. I like to highlight the ambition and I like to highlight the excellence because with ambition, it symbolizes that somebody is at a place where they know they need to get to in the future. That symbolizes the ambition, and I help with the work that I do. I also have a consulting service as part of Tiyon Simpson Enterprises, where I help people who may be a little bit stuck or a little bit unsure, help them to fulfill that ambition from where they are to where they want to get to in the future. And then the excellence part, where I believe that everything done well is done with excellence. A good enough attitude is not going to be good enough if you want to have an excellent life, where you want a particular measure of success, whatever that looks like. But as long as you do things with excellence, your customers, your clients will love you and they'll keep on coming back. So that's essentially the philosophy of what I do.
I love that. And that is so true. Like excellence brings people back. And but one of the interesting things, because nowadays as a mental health therapist, I work with a lot of young people who say, I don't want to go to college. I'm not trying to go to school. I want to start a business. Now, most of them say they want to be a YouTuber, which again, I tease parents and I'm like, okay, but the idea of being an entrepreneur, why do you think that's still very scary to families?
I think there's two reasons. One, risk. Every entrepreneur is familiar with the word risk, and there is no aspect of entrepreneurship that is without risk. Pretty much every day when you are starting or at least running a business, even the most skilled or veteran entrepreneurs will tell you this as well, where everything that you do and every decision that you make has some kind of risk level involved. Now, some people are natural gamblers. I'm not saying that entrepreneurship is a gamble. In a way, it kind of is, but you're not kind of throwing away, large amounts of money or large amounts of time on a whim. A good entrepreneur will plan or at least have some kind of coherent business plan beforehand and knows, like I said earlier, like the map or the direction of where they want to go. So risk, I can go into that more, but risk is probably the first thing. And the second thing is, I think the lack of awareness as to what entrepreneurship has become. I'll go into this a little bit more, meaning that over the past 30 or so years, we have this amazing, wonderful invention called the internet. With the internet means that you can have conversations and you can build businesses literally from your bedroom. Or, in America, for example, where you guys are, from
Mhm.
your mum's basement or wherever. Literally, you can start a business and run a business from anywhere. You can even run a business from your phone.
Right.
That to, let's say, the previous generations of entrepreneurs or previous generations of people before us, that's a concept where they're not too familiar with. They see careers like, like let's take YouTubers for example. Like if someone wanted to turn around and say if I've got two daughters,
Mhm.
say if my older one who is 7 said to me, "Daddy, I want to be a YouTuber." The first thing I'd say to her is not no, don't be a YouTuber, that's stupid. I'd say to her, okay, you want to be a YouTuber, what problem are you solving for people?
Mm.
Because it's all well and good wanting to be a YouTuber, but I wouldn't personally, again, I'm not going to sort of disrespect anyone that wants to go down this particular path, but I wouldn't personally want my children to go on TikTok or go on YouTube or any kind of social media platform, do foolishness basically just to get views and likes and whatever, and just to kind of being. I know you can get paid to create, and I'm not knocking anyone that does that.
Mhm.
That's rare. If you want to do that, that's fine. But I would like to think that I would want to, not just myself, but my wife would like to nurture our children to think that, okay, yes, go on TikTok, go on YouTube. But if you're going to do this as an entrepreneur, solve a problem, or at least demonstrate expertise or value in a way that actually gives value to the people that are consuming your content. Because,
Yeah.
that okay, maybe I'm just being a bit of an old man by saying this, but that's not something that I think is giving any kind of benefit to the world or a good way to make money. But then at the same time, any good marketer, any good content creator knows that doing this, what we do, is the fundamental of pretty much every business now. Any
Mhm.
business that is not online or is not on YouTube or is not on social media does not have any kind of presence whatsoever.
Mhm.
Unless you're running off of a word of mouth basis, which some businesses do, but that's not going to last forever because those entrepreneurs will end up retiring, or those businesses will kind of go out of I don't want to say out of fashion, but out of sync. Newer businesses will come in place, and whilst many more younger companies are understanding the power of branding and marketing, without understanding that visibility that comes with, say, being on YouTube, understanding how entrepreneurship works, they
Mhm.
won't succeed. So it's more than just stepping in front of a camera, doing any kind of crazy stuff and getting paid for it. There is a nuance and there's a skill behind it, and that,
Mhm.
like I said to you earlier on the pre-show call, if one of my daughters turned around and said to me, "Daddy, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a vet, or I want to be, any kind of traditional career," I wouldn't turn around and say to them, "No, don't do that." I would say to her, "Look, okay, do that, go to university, go to college if you want to, but if that doesn't work, you could take that passion for, say, animals or medicine or whatever, and you can make content with it instead."
Mhm.
There's not just one path anymore. Whereas when I was
Yeah.
growing up, for example, we were taught that there was only one path, and if you deviate from that path, it's curtains
We've
for you.
all thought that, right? Like, listen, and that's
Yeah,
what I think is so good about people like yourself who say to other people, listen, there's other ways to be successful, and we
yeah,
have to think in that creative, out of the box kind of way, right?
yeah,
Entrepreneurship, like you said, entrepreneurship in generations, you had to go put up an actual office and set up and have equipment. No, now it is literally in your basement, or for me, in my living room right here,
yeah,
right? Being able to create content. And I love that. But also, what's really awesome about your story and journey is that you and your wife have come together to create businesses. Talk a little bit about that journey and how you've come together.
Oh, I'm so proud of her, and I love telling this story. Um, I like to say that myself and my wife, when we first got together, are two very, very different personalities, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just how we operate. I personally am a bit more driven. I'm a little bit more corporate in that sense. I'm kind of more of a goal-getter, more organizer, planner. I'm definitely a planner, very much an attention to detail kind of person. So that's why working in corporate for such a long time was such a good fit for me. However, my wife, on the other hand, is a bit more creative. She's a bit more, let's say, spread out with how she likes to do things. She likes to think very creatively. I'm also quite a creative person, but in a different way.
Yeah.
But she is very much a creative soul. She wears her heart on her sleeve, and she really puts like 110% effort into everything that she does. Very artistic, very colorful in that sense.
Mhm.
So we come from two very, very different backgrounds. But what really works together between the two of us is that we bring the best out of each other, because she brings an aspect of her personality to me that I probably needed, where I've kind of worked with a lot of very stiff, very rich people for such a long time. I've maybe picked up a little bit of that stiffness and that coldness a little bit when I deal with people, whereas she's more heart-led and she's more empathetic. And yes, I've been accused maybe a few too many times of not having enough empathy, but I'm working on it. But the good thing is that having her it brings out the best in, not just the best in me, but I think, and hopefully she'll agree with me, that we bring the best out of each other. So entrepreneurship was never on the cards for the plan for, after we got married, after we had our daughter. But it all just so happened almost naturally. We both decided to stop what we were doing in terms of our actual career. So I stopped working in financial services and she stopped her work in dentistry. We both decided to get involved into the world of digital marketing, branding and content creation. Both got certificates in that. We both did the same course, and we decided, hey, why don't we start a company together? And that's pretty much what we did. So we made a really big decision. We were living in the UK, and we decided to pack everything up and move to her country of origin, which is Bulgaria. So like we were saying earlier, being able to run businesses from anywhere, between the three of us, we're now running 3 companies from an apartment in Plovdiv, Bulgaria. So it's almost a dream come true. We've always had this dream of wanting to do things for ourselves. We hate the idea of having bosses. I suppose she's the boss, really, but don't.
I love it. Yeah.
But ultimately, we both get great joy from what we're doing. We have some amazing clients from all over the world. Our presence is growing a lot more in America, for example. We've got a number of really good clients in America, but we're international. We work with clients from everywhere. Having these relationships, doing great work for these businesses, and we're a young company, but we're moving in the right direction, and we genuinely do enjoy working together, and we're building something together. And I think that means a lot when you're not just in a marriage, but also building a family, teaching our kids these values, and building something together. I think it's a good thing. It's a blessed thing.
Yeah, I love that, and I love the idea that you two. Because we think about work balance, right? Work-life balance. And the fact that entrepreneurship in this way is actually giving us more work-life balance and the opportunity to be with our family, and again, work with our family, but be with our family, because you just described the old-fashioned family business, right?
Yes.
Everybody has a part, everybody plays a part in it, which is what I love. It's just so cool. So tell us a little bit about your podcast and your businesses, what you care to share at this point, but tell us a little bit about what you guys have created together.
Absolutely. So very briefly, so the company that I have with myself and my wife is called Zatira Media. Zatira, whilst it's an unusual name, it's actually a combination of the 3 of our names put together. So Zoe is for Zoe, my daughter, T is me, Tiyon, and Ra is Radina. So Zatira, that's how we put the names together to form the name of the company. Zatira Media, as I mentioned, is an international branding and marketing company. We work primarily with small businesses and individual entrepreneurs. We do everything from visual branding through to branding campaigns, brand strategies, content strategies, and pretty much everything in between. We're still very young, but we have a growing number of clients. We're doing really well, and we really enjoy what we do. In terms of what I do, so I run a separate company called Tiyon Simpson Enterprises, and within that, I have 2 podcasts. One of which is called The Life of Someone Extraordinary, which is growing rapidly. I'm amazed at how quickly it's growing. There, I interview entrepreneurs, I interview professionals, experienced professionals, and creators and content creators. And what I like to do with not just with the podcast, but with all of my businesses, is that I like to take people on a journey. I'm very much a believer in storytelling. Yeah. Storytelling that adds value to the person listening. So it's very much a case of, I will have someone on the show, we'll obviously go through what they do, their history, a bit of their background, but we'll take them on a journey of, tell me about the highest highs, tell me about the lowest lows. What does success look like to you? What are the more character building parts? Then demonstrate your expertise. Why are you good at what you do? What can you demonstrate that means you're a leader or an expert in your field? So we've had some amazing guests on the show so far. I've got so many more amazing guests lined up. It's growing. I'll do the plug later, but that's one of the podcasts I do. The other podcast I have is a solo podcast that I run mainly for entrepreneurs, frameworks. I give frameworks mainly on branding and marketing frameworks. I help entrepreneurs and business business people and people with their branding and personal brand positioning. With personal brand positioning as well, I also run a consultancy called Presence by Tiyon Simpson Enterprises. That is a personal branding consultancy for a wide range of people that want to move from where they are, where they're feeling stuck or unsure about their personal brand or their business or the business ideas, through to a place of capability, ambition, and excellence. So I help to give them the roadmap, I help them with their personal brand, I help them with their positioning, I help with marketing strategies, all of that in between. Coach consultants, so to speak. And I've got some books in the works. I've got plans for more speaking, more podcast appearances, more digital products, and I just want to help as many people as I can, really. So that's kind of like what I do pretty much in a nutshell.
I love that. And then something you mentioned, and you said it really quickly, but you said you and your wife did a certificate.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about the value of that, because I know that parents also are kind of concerned when their kids come home and say, hey, I'm not going to go to college, but I'm going to do this certificate. Yeah. What value and what would you say around certificates and courses that are out there?
Excellent question. So we've always been, despite me not liking school, I really didn't like school, and I wouldn't say I was much of an academic at all, even though I did okay-ish in school, a couple of A's here and there, but I knew from when I was around about 13 or 14 that the school system wasn't for me. I'm actually, what I really wanted to do when I was under the age of 10 is I wanted to be a professional in America. You guys in America, I wanted to be a soccer player. I wanted to play football. That's what I wanted to do, and then I was quickly pushed out of that idea. No, you've got to go back to, you've got to do your homework and whatnot. And then I developed as a musician. So I've actually been a musician now for well over 30 years. And I wanted to be a professional musician. And again, no, you can't be a musician. You need to go study. So it's like two things that I really wanted to do that I couldn't do. So whilst I kind of went from, from there of not being able to do what I wanted to do, going to like an aimless position of having job after job after job after job with going nowhere, it got to a point where I needed to kind of make a decision as to what I really want out of life. Because at that point, I was around about 25, 26. I needed to figure something out. So I actually got some advice from a company I was working for at the time. And they suggested, look, the best thing you can do is go back to college. In your case, you have community college, you have adult colleges in the UK. And I went back to college to study business administration. I got a certificate in business administration. That enabled me to get the corporate jobs. And then through that, once we decided to leave that industry, my wife and I decided to get certificates in digital marketing. Yeah. Why did we decide to go back to study, even though we hate studying? Very interesting question I hear you ask.
Yes, I love it.
It did one of two things. Mm-hmm. Having the certificates adds credibility to what you do.
Yes.
Now, what I'm trying to say is that I don't mean that if you don't have certificates or if you don't have qualifications, you're not credible or you're not capable. That's not what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I come from a generation, or I come from a background where, me personally, I didn't feel like I was capable of doing something or I had the sufficient authority to do something unless I had some piece of paper or some kind of qualification to back it up. I know now that that's complete rubbish. But that was my mindset for a long time, that as long as I have the qualification, that I've got it, I've done the exam, I've done the assessments, whatever, then I can now fully believe that I am now capable in this area. The crazy thing is that prior to 3 or 4 years ago, neither myself or my wife had any experience in brand or marketing whatsoever. We didn't study at university, never had a branding or marketing job, yet we both did a very short course, ended up with a certificate, and now we run a branding and marketing business. Like, how is that even possible? But it is. But my takeaway for you guys listening is that it is possible, not just in brand and marketing, but pretty much in many different fields now, where there are many providers that are offering free courses, many quality courses for free, where you can get the qualification if that helps you to feel more validated in what you do. Excuse me a second. Sorry. It makes you feel more validated in what you do. But I don't know if you'd agree with me, Dr. Stacy, but one of the best tools or one of the best education facilities for families, for kids, I wish I had this when I was young, is YouTube.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yes, I send everybody to YouTube. I tell people I have changed batteries, all kinds of things I didn't know how to do without just go watch a YouTube video. I'm sure it's on there for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say very quickly, sorry to interrupt you. I was going to say very quickly that everything else that we've not learned from a textbook
Mhm.
or from an online course, we have learned
Yeah.
everything from YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube is fantastic. YouTube, if I had YouTube when I was young, now, who knows where I'd be at this age. But hey, look, everyone's got to start somewhere. So all I would say to anyone that feels like they need that qualification or needs to be in a position, take advantage of the free, I have to stress the word free resource that is out there. But honestly, if you find the right YouTube content, if you find the right creators, you can learn something you would probably learn in college or university in say a few months, rather than having to spend a whole lot of money to learn in a few years. It is possible. You as long as you have the authority and you can demonstrate it, hey, you can go and do whatever you want with it. You have the
Yeah.
experience, so don't feel like you're less than because you haven't got a degree or you haven't got the right qualification. We didn't go to the right university or college or whatever. You know, the
Yeah.
world has changed and we have to change with it.
And that is so true. And I love that you said that, because I learn a lot of things from YouTube, right? Like even how to edit a video, or like we were talking earlier, like having to do all the things when you run a podcast. I did not learn this stuff in school. I learned this by YouTube.
Yep.
Hey, that's what you do. So even thinking about, and I love how you're hitting on the fact for the kids that don't necessarily like school, but say, hey, certificates are out there, YouTube is out there, learning. What has been maybe some of those tips or skills that you've learned, like as an entrepreneur? What have you felt like, hey, maybe I should have, or I guess through being an entrepreneur, you've gotten better with skills. Like what skills would you say like really help you in the entrepreneur space?
Excellent. Honestly, this might sound a bit weird, and I'm going to say it anyway, but the first thing I probably had to learn before I learned anything about business was how to become confident.
Let's see. Yeah.
It is. That's why I didn't want to go too hot
I love it.
straight away. I didn't believe for a long time that I could be a capable entrepreneur. And what I needed to do when I first started taking this journey seriously was I needed to listen to certain voices or certain people that would tell me over and over again that I could do it. Because for so long, I was told by people in my world or family members or friends or people that knew me that you're not capable. Why are you doing this? Who do you think you are? You know, I think a lot of it comes from, I grew up in the UK. It's very much part of that kind of mindset to kind of put people down. But at the same time, if you're ambitious and you believe that you want better for yourself, you've got to be listening to the right voices. You've got to be listening to the right people. So I'm going to shout out Gary Vee. I listened to a lot of Gary Vee content when I first started. Literally binged it, listened to so many of his books, and literally just kind of understanding that just go for it. Who cares? Just post it. Just make it. Who cares what people have to say? If John 123 doesn't like your stuff, who cares? Just do it. You'll get validation from doing what you're passionate about. And it took I'm sorry, I'm shouting out Gary Vee, but there were so many others. I like to listen to Tony Robbins, Les Brown, so many others. One second. I'm so sorry. Another kind of not just motivational speakers, but people that have been there and done it. It's almost like mentors, but aren't mentors in a way. So that was the first thing I needed to do. I needed to understand that I was capable. I have the confidence to be able to do this. Second thing was actually learning how to be an entrepreneur. Thank God for AI. That's all I can say. AI can pretty much answer every stupid question that you have. And certainly I had a lot when I first started. And ChatGPT was just in its infancy when I was serious around about 3 or 4 years ago. And I felt the liberty to ask AI every stupid question about entrepreneurship that I had, because I didn't want to feel like that person that didn't know what he was doing or didn't know what he was talking about. So through obviously learning things through AI, obviously finding the right content on YouTube, I learned how to do business. So for example, something as basic as how to write an invoice, how to write a business plan, how to come up with strategies. Not just marketing, market research was a big one as well. How important is market research? All these things that we think that you need to people take for granted. It's almost like I had a kind of step-by-step checklist of, okay, today we're going to learn how to narrow down your target audience. Then we're going to learn about social media. Then that's the next thing. So the next thing I did was learn how to make content, because as I said before, content is the vehicle for pretty much all business now, because without content, you have no business. Well, that's not true, but without good content, you don't have a visible business. Sorry, scratch that last quote off the record. Without good content, you haven't got a visible business. There we go. That's what I wanted to say, because there are many entrepreneurs that aren't on social media and they're doing just fine. So I just wanted to clarify that. So the content part of it as well. And then maybe the last thing that I needed to do was finally narrow down and understand what is the business that you're doing. What is your business? Because I told you before that I had lots of different ideas. My first ever business was like I want to call it almost like a thrift business, where I'm buying and selling items, clothing, items, stuff, and I'm just like, because I used to work in a self-storage facility many years ago, and I used to get a lot of stuff, and I'd sell it on eBay and Facebook and whatnot, and just nothing complicated about it. You're just buying stuff, selling stuff, making a profit. It wasn't really a serious business, but it made me a little bit of money, and that was kind of like the first kind of understanding of how profit worked. And then time goes on, and then when it became real, then you had to kind of learn pretty much everything: tax, gross profit, net profit, margins, all the kind of business terminology that you would see on like Shark Tank or Dragon's Den or any of those kind of programs. That was another thing, watching those kind of programs. I watched pretty much all seasons of Shark Tank, even in the UK, obviously Dragon's Den in the UK, and business programs, any kind of business content, just getting into that world, just feeding your mind with, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you've got to fill your mind with business talk, business people, listen to business language, understand that world. And you'll find that over time, you will naturally just gravitate to those kind of people. It's crazy now, because many of I've made through my podcast, obviously through doing things like this with you, Dr. Stacy, it's like you get to meet so many great people, and it's almost like it's refreshing in a way where you can kind of talk about things that your other friends or former colleagues don't really understand. It's almost like, hey, let's talk about content, let's talk about editing, let's talk about business, let's talk about how you want to grow, what you want to do. And it's almost like you have that hive of energy, and you kind of just feed off each other. It's almost like you're not kind of competing to, who's got the best podcast or whatever, but it's like, hey, look, how can we collaborate? How can we create something great together? And that's all just come through learning. Honestly, it has all just come through learning. There is no entrepreneur handbook that someone gave to me and said, this is how you become an entrepreneur. It's all just been done by doing. But the confidence part was the most important part. Without the confidence, I would never have learned to be an entrepreneur.
Wow. And that's powerful. So folks, I really want you to hear that, because that's my takeaway too, right? Like the confidence piece and having that. All right. So Tiyon, before you go though, I have our Laffy Taffy joke of the show. And so this is where I tease my guests. So I've only had like 2 in 30 episodes get it. So no worries. But Proverbs 17:22 says, a joyful heart is good medicine. So we're going to try to get some joy going. All right. So why did the Scarecrow win an award? Why did the Scarecrow win an award? It's like,
something to do with straw, I bet. No.
He was outstanding in his field.
All
right, Tiyon, how can people get in touch with you, your podcast, if they want to know more about your consulting business, if they need you to help them grow their business, how can they get in touch with you?
Fantastic. So at the moment, I have a website that's under construction at the moment, which is very, very annoying. But the best way to get in contact with me directly is to contact me on LinkedIn, Tiyon Simpson on LinkedIn, at Tiyon Simpson on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook as well, Tiyon Simpson on Facebook. Zatira Media, you can find all details of that business. If you're a small business or if you're an individual entrepreneur that needs help with full branding, we can help with that. Get in touch. My email address is tlsimpsonenterprises@gmail.com. It's on all my bios. Send me an email, send me a DM, get in touch. We'll arrange a call. We'll talk it out just like this. And if I can help in any way, my door is always open.
Oh, I love it.
I'm sorry, Dr. Stacey, I've got my podcast. My podcast, The Life of Someone Extraordinary, is available on YouTube. My channel, which hosts everything, is TLSE Vision, or you can just search for The Life of Someone Extraordinary. It's also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The Life of Someone Extraordinary. Just type it in. Really easy to find. I have some amazing guests on there. Great conversations. Please check it out and follow and subscribe.
Yeah, and I just love the title of A Life of Someone Extraordinary. I love it. Because some way I feel like we're all extraordinary. But so I love that. All right. So before we go, our Love Our Babies Well segment, folks, talking about this idea of success and redefining that, celebrating how our children are built and designed. Part of being an entrepreneur is you're able to use those gifts and those abilities just as you're designed in a great way that, as even Tiyon has said today, gives back and serves others. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Keep the faith, love the babies, and pursue wellness.